Hello everyone, welcome to my class. In today's class, we shall look at the introductory part of The Empire Writes Back, written by Bill Ashcraft, Gareth Griffiths, and Helen Tiffin. The Empire Writes Back is the first theoretical account of a wide range of post-colonial texts. It discusses vividly of the post-colonial texts and their relations to the larger issues of post-colonial culture and remains one of the most significant works published in this field. The authors are the three leading figures in post-colonial studies: Bill Ashcraft, Gareth Griffiths, and Helen Tiffin. They define post-colonial texts as the writings of those people who were formerly colonized by Britain and other European powers. These studies cover all the cultures affected by the imperial process from the moment of colonization to the present day. The significance of English and English literature. The British colonial administrators used English and English literature to support themselves in maintaining control of the natives under the guise of liberal education. English emerged as an academic discipline during this period. Literature was considered to be the controlling aspect in building the cultural enterprise of an empire as the monarchy was to its political freedom. Development of post-colonial literature occurred in many stages. The first stage, during the imperial period, writing in the language of the masters became inevitable, and this was done by a group of literary elite who identified themselves with their colonial masters. The early texts thus produced were mostly travelogues. Some examples of such texts are Australia by Wentworth, The Travel Diary by Mary Kinsley. The second stage. In the second stage of post-colonial writing, literature was produced by the natives under imperial license. We could consider the large body of prose and poetry as example, which was written by the Indian educated upper class elite of the 19th century. These post colonial works did not consist anti imperial perspectives since they had to obtain permission for publishing their works. The institution of literature was directly under the control of the imperial power. One of the main features of the imperial oppression is control over language. Even after independence, the center used to control its colonizers with the help of its language. During the 20th century, most of the colonized countries became independent. The position of the European powers was relegated to a comparatively minor place in international affairs since USA superseded them and emerged as the new dominant imperial power. So, the world colonial power, that was England, started to use English and literature to maintain its cultural hegemony. The newly independent countries started to identify themselves as offshoots of English literature. Through the term post-colonial literature, this cultural hegemony still continued by relegating the literature of post-colonial countries as marginal and subordinate literature. The major features of post-colonial literature. A major feature of post-colonial literature is the concern with place and displacement, sense of alienation, identity crisis, the feeling of otherness are some of the important characteristics of post-colonial literature. Sense of alienation and identity crisis was a result of place and displacement, and this is a repetitive theme in post-colonial writings. Writers like Rajarao and Chinua Achebe wrote from their native places. They did not literally suffer any geographical displacement. Still, they had to overcome the imposed linguistic displacement. They were practicing English like native speakers. Even then they felt that there was an alienation within practicing English. They found that the vocabularies, categories, and codes of English were inadequate and inappropriate to describe the culture, the flora, and the fauna of their land. They needed to escape from the English which was formally and historically limited. The language was incapable to express the appropriate experience, hence, the idea of post colonial theory. The post-colonial literary theory emerges from the inability of the European theory to deal with the varied and complex cultural provinces. The authors conclude by by telling that the task of the book is twofolded: to identify the range and nature of these post colonial texts and to describe the various theories which have emerged so far. Click the link found below for a detailed summary for the introductory part of the Empire Writes Back. Like and subscribe this channel for more such PPTs and essays. Thank you.